Vietnam just closed 86 million bank accounts. Yes, you heard that right. But before you believe everything you've seen online, tonight we're cutting through the rumors to uncover the truth.
I came across this headline earlier today and thought, we've got to dig deeper. Not just for myself, but for all of you here on Vietnam News. So let's start right at the top with that headline. Vietnam has already deleted or closed 86 million bank accounts. Yeah, you heard that right. 86 million. That's almost as many accounts as there are people in the country. Now, before you rush to check your banking app and start stuffing cash under your mattress, take a deep breath. Most of these accounts were either duplicates, inactive, or never properly verified in the first place. But here's the kicker. Some headlines out there are calling this an OECD power grab or painting it like Vietnam is caving to some shadowy international banking cabal. Spoiler alert, that's not what's really happening. So in this video, we're going to cut through the noise, break down what's actually going on, explain why Vietnam's banking system had so many accounts floating around, and show you what this means for everyday people, locals, expats, and businesses alike. And because this is Vietnam News, where East meets West, I'll keep it light, add some cultural context, and yes, probably poke fun at the idea of having more bank accounts than cousins. Let's dive in. But before we dive in, let's clear up this phrase you've probably seen. OECD power grab. The OECD, by the way, stands for the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Basically a club of mostly wealthy countries that sets guidelines on things like taxes and financial transparency. Now, when people say OECD power grab, it sounds dramatic, like foreign elites are swooping in to take over your money. In reality, it's just clickbait shorthand that makes headlines scarier than they are. The truth? There's no OECD takeover here. Just Vietnam cleaning up its banking system. First, some context. Vietnam's banking landscape has exploded in the past 2 decades. Back in the early 2000s, most people kept their savings in cash, or, at best, in a single family-owned account at a state-owned bank. Fast forward to today, and Vietnam has seen account numbers balloon to nearly 200 million for a population of just about 100 million people. How does that math even work? Simple. People love opening multiple accounts. One for salary, one for online shopping, one for investments, one because your cousin works at Vietcom Bank and said it was a good idea. And pretty soon, you've got more accounts than pairs of socks. Add to that the rise of e-wallets and mobile banking apps like Momo, ZalloPay, and ShopeePay. Many of these required linking to a bank account, so people ended up creating extras just to use different services. And then there's fraud. Scammers often opened fake accounts using stolen IDs or incomplete paperwork. Some accounts were opened just to claim promotional gifts or bonuses. Think of it like creating 10 email addresses just to get multiple free trials. All of this left the State Bank of Vietnam with a giant headache. Millions of inactive or unverified accounts clogging up the system, making it harder to track transactions and creating loopholes for criminals to exploit.
Why did they close 8 of my 10 accounts?
That's the mess that led to the mass cleanup we're seeing now. So what actually happened? The State Bank of Vietnam, SBV, launched a sweeping cleanup campaign to purge accounts that weren't properly verified with biometric authentication. Things like fingerprints, ID scans, and in some cases, facial recognition. Over time, this effort led to the closure of more than 86 million accounts that were either inactive, duplicates, or opened with incomplete information. The goals were straightforward. Fight cybercrime. Vietnam has seen a sharp rise in online scams, from phishing schemes to money laundering rings using fake accounts. Clean up financial data. With nearly 200 million accounts floating around, but only around 113 million personal accounts and 711,000 organizational accounts actually active and verified, the numbers just didn't add up. Prepare for a digital economy. By 2030, Vietnam wants to be a cashless society. You can't do that if half your infrastructure is built on zombie accounts. Banks carried out massive notification campaigns via SMS, email, and app alerts, asking customers to update their biometrics or risk losing their accounts.
You Argent, update your banking information. Action required. Verify your account details.
For most people, it was as simple as showing a national ID card, providing a fingerprint, and confirming a phone number. In short, if you wanted your account to stay alive, you had to prove you were, well, alive. Now let's tackle the juicy part, the conspiracy theories. Some YouTubers and foreign commentators shouted that this was all about the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, strong-arming Vietnam into giving up its financial sovereignty. Here's the truth. There was no OECD directive ordering Vietnam to delete accounts. Zero. Nada. Yes, the OECD does run initiatives like the Common Reporting Standard, CRS, encouraging countries to share financial data to prevent tax evasion. But Vietnam's cleanup was a domestic decision. The SBV led this to protect its own system, not because Paris or Washington told them to. So why the confusion? Sensational headlines drive clicks. Vietnam cracks down on fraud with biometric banking doesn't get as many views as OECD power grab. And let's face it, adding a sprinkle of international intrigue makes any story sound juicier. But if you compare this with other countries, you'll see it's nothing unusual. India launched the Aadhaar biometric ID system, linking millions of accounts to fingerprints and iris scans. The Philippines also conducted mass account verification campaigns to root out fraud. Vietnam is simply following a global trend toward biometric secure banking. So no, the OECD wasn't lurking in the background, deleting your Momo account. This was about Vietnam taking charge of its own financial future. Alright, let's talk impact. Who did this actually affect? First group, inactive accounts. These were the low-hanging fruit, accounts opened years ago, left untouched, and basically digital ghosts. Second group, duplicate accounts. If someone had 5 accounts with the same ID, only the verified ones they actively used survived. Third group, fraud-linked accounts. Scammers and money launderers got wiped out. For everyday locals, the change mostly meant a quick trip to the bank to update biometrics. The bigger challenge was for the elderly and rural populations, who often found the process intimidating or inconvenient. The government has been rolling out outreach programs to help them. For expats, the message was clear. Make sure your bank account paperwork is up to date. Some foreign residents already saw accounts frozen when documents didn't match or when biometric data wasn't supplied. On the business side, this cleanup builds trust. E-commerce platforms, fintech startups, and even international investors see a more credible financial system when fake accounts are eliminated. And culturally, Vietnam is still a cash-loving country, but digital habits are changing fast. From street vendors using QR codes to taxi drivers accepting digital wallets, the shift is real. This cleanup is one more step in that direction. So here's the bottom line. Vietnam has already closed 86 million bank accounts. That sounds dramatic, but in reality, it's a cleanup, not a collapse. Forget the conspiracy theories about the OECD pulling strings. This was Vietnam tightening its own ship. So if you've got a bank account here, don't freak out. Just make sure your info is up to date, and you'll be fine. And hey, if you're sitting on 10 old accounts you don't even remember opening, maybe this was the universe telling you it's time to simplify your financial life. Thanks for watching Vietnam News, where East meets West. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. How many bank accounts do you have? No judgment, unless it's more than your number of Facebook accounts. Thanks for watching this special report. I'll see you next time here on Vietnam News. And with that, back to you, Peter.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. I'm Peter, and from all of us here at Vietnam News, thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next report.